Support for NPR and the following message come from Vimeo Create. You don't have to be an expert to create high-quality videos for your business. Add clips, pick a template, and let the smart tools of Vimeo Create handle the rest. More at vimeo.com/create.
Hello and welcome to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers. And we're broadcasting this week from the Opposites Attract department here at Car Talk Plaza.
Very good. Actually, this seems to have been written by a guy named Jack Winter from The New Yorker. It's titled How I Met My Wife.
Aha.
It was sent to us by a guy named Craig Douglas.
Go for it, man.
Now, pay close attention. This is tough to comprehend.
Okay.
It had been a rough day. So when I walked into the party, I was very chalant, despite my efforts to appear gruntled and consolate. I was furling my wieldy umbrella for the coat check when I saw her standing alone in a corner. She was a descript person, a woman in a state of total array. Her hair was kempt, her clothing shoveled, and she moved in a gainly way. I wanted desperately to meet her, but I knew I'd have to make bones about it since I was traveling cognito. But then, for some apparent reason, she looked in my direction and smiled in a way that I could make heads or tails of. I was plussed. It was concerning to see that she was communicado. Wanting to make only called-for remarks, I started talking about the hors d'oeuvres, trying to abuse her of the notion that I was sippid. Then the conversation became more and more coet. Yeah, and we spoke at length to much avail. But I was defatigable, so I had to leave at a godly hour. I asked if she wanted to come with me. To my delight, she was committal. We left the party together and have been together ever since. I have given her my love, and she has requited it. Hey, Jack Winter from The New Yorker, you got a future here, dude. He's probably 85 years old.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And he says, I got no future.
Well, you always wonder where words like disgruntled come from.
Well, I mean...
Hey, have you ever met anyone who was gruntled? I mean, I strive every day to be gruntled. And it hasn't worked.
No, it's not easy. I mean, can you get ungruntled, for example? I don't know.
Or undisgruntled.
Yeah.
I think that's the question to
Well,
ask.
actually, as long as we're discussing that, here's another thing that goes with it. A linguistics professor was expounding upon the differences in positives and negatives in different languages. According to the professor, 1, in the English language, a double negative makes something a positive. Mm-hmm. In Russian and some related languages, double negative remains a negative. Mm-hmm. And the professor asserted there is no language, however, in which double positive makes a negative. When he made this last statement, a voice in the back of the room piped up, yeah, right.
Well, look, if you have a
English is a fascinating language.
It is indeed. If you have a question about your car and you want to be disgruntled with the answer, the number to call is 888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, my name is Esther from Denver.
Esther.
How are you guys?
Esther, is that Esther with an H, or is that polyester?
No, it's with an H.
With an H.
All right.
From Denver.
From Denver.
Yeah.
What's up, Esther?
I have an RX-7 Mazda.
Yeah.
Well, mine's making a really weird noise.
Okay.
The coolant light keeps going off. When I'm on the highway, it'll just go on and off.
And you say it makes a noise? Or...
Noise. Annoying noise.
Really? Have you, opened up the engine compartment to peek?
Well, what I do is, before I leave for work, I kind of fill up the radiator just that way it wouldn't make the noise.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, and not even a cup.
Yeah.
Maybe half a cup.
But every day you have to add this half cup?
Well, that way I don't have to hear the noise, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. I'm ready to call my mechanic because it's driving me nuts.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Don't do anything rash.
But the noise is not. The noise is not directly associated with the coolant light coming on. In other words, it isn't a warning buzzer, is it?
It is. It's
it is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's telling you have low coolant.
Well,
I know I do, but
why?
I
Oh, is that what you want to know? Why?
Why? Do I have a leak, or is it...
Yes. You have a leak.
Sure.
By definition, you have a leak. There are only a few scenarios at work here.
See,
Either someone's stealing it at night while you're parked, or it's leaking out.
if it stayed inside, you wouldn't be able to fit another cup in the next day. So, therefore, it's coming out somewhere.
And I believe your radiator has a sensor at the top of the radiator that reads the coolant level, and if it just drops down an inch or so, boom, it turns the
Bingo.
light on.
The light comes on.
And
So,
I need
then now the question is, where is it coming? What year is this RX-7?
91.
Well, it could be a cracked engine block.
Oh, you could
You're
have a
scaring
brain
me.
tumor.
I drive 12 miles a day each way.
You drive 12 miles a day. I mean,
Right.
if you're lucky, and it's most likely to be something like a bad water pump. So you need to replace the water pump.
Well, I'll cross my fingers.
We have a philosophical question here. Would it be better to tell Esther the worst possible things it could be, or should we just tell her? Let's face it. It could be as simple as a loose hose clamp. It could be that, which would cost $0 to fix.
Well, they charge you $50, but it would cost you.
Can I fix it myself?
We always have to size up the caller. And I sized you up right away, Esther, as being one who could take bad news with dignity and aplomb.
Oh, so it's an individual thing.
Yes.
You can't have a blanket policy.
And that's why I went right to the most disastrous thing.
You could have a brain tumor.
Like Dr. Patel told me at the Mass General Hospital. It could be nothing, or you could have a brain tumor.
I don't have a brain tumor. I think my car has some kind of tumor.
Well,
No,
a cracked engine block would be the equivalent of a brain tumor, and maybe even worse.
But a loose hose clamp would be obviously the simplest thing it could be.
Yeah.
So it probably is somewhere between those two, and right in between those two is the water
the
pump.
water pump.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would take it someplace immediately, because if you persist in letting it run low on coolant, you're going to wreck the engine for sure. And I know you were hoping that we would fix it telephonically.
So I guess I'll call my mechanic today.
Good idea.
You should do it.
Take
because
the bus.
it might be something really easy, and it's better to get it done than to wreck the engine.
Okay, I will.
All right, Esther.
Thanks
Thank
for calling,
you.
Esther.
See ya.
You have a good day.
You too.
You too. Bye-bye. 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Yeah, hello, guys. This is Vic from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
So what's going on, Vic?
Well, about 7-8 months ago, I bought a 1997 Jeep Cherokee at a GSA government auction.
Was it covered in cosmoline?
No.
Wasn't it in a box in pieces?
No, actually, it was
Oh.
it was in excellent shape.
Yeah.
But, every time I back up and turn slowly or go forward and turn slowly, I get this squealing sound. It almost sounds like a seal. And I cannot figure out what it is, because when I'm going straight or when I'm going in at regular speeds, I don't hear it.
How sharp a turn does it have to be?
Well, just when I go into any turn, and it's only when I'm moving. So, I was thinking maybe it was the power steering.
And the noise is coming from the front.
And it's coming from the front or the back.
Good,
Oh,
that's
that
good.
narrows it right down.
Well, it isn't the sides.
If I had to say, I'd probably say it was probably more toward the rear.
Really?
What a
Yeah.
lousy answer
How
that is.
unfortunate.
For us.
And like I said, it doesn't happen all the time. It's only about 60% of the time. And it seems like, right after I depress the brakes and as soon as I release them, it's kind of like by my way of thinking, I'm visualizing these brake pads not completely releasing from the disc pad.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, this first of all, this is a regular Cherokee and not a Grand.
No, it's a regular Cherokee.
Regular Cherokee, and it doesn't have disc brakes in the back. It has drums.
Is that what it is?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be stepping on the brake to hear the sound. Is
No.
that correct?
But stepping on it can make it go away.
Well,
He
not
didn't
necessarily.
say that. He
It's-
did not say
I'm
that.
trying to plant the seed. Vic,
Yeah.
Vic, listen, calm yourself.
The Queen of Diamonds.
Yes. You are falling into a deep sleep. You're feeling very relaxed. Stepping on the brake can make the noise go away, can't it, Vic?
Not necessarily, because I'm always going so slow.
Didn't work again.
No, not working. But
Yeah. So even whether you step on the brake or not, it either is there or not.
right.
Is this four-wheel drive?
Yes, it is.
Ah. I don't know what that means.
That means something?
We don't know. Well, it could mean something.
I mean, at first blush, it seems like it has to be if it's coming from the back. There ain't much in the back,
There's
Vic.
nothing back there.
I mean, what's back there is the differential assembly,
And it's not that.
2 axles, the
not
drums and the brakes, and the exhaust system, and obviously the suspension components. But I'm going to rule them out.
All of them.
I'm going to rule all of that out.
And you just said there's nothing else after that back
So
there.
it's going to be the rear window wiper. No, I mean, I don't think it's coming from the back.
I don't think it is either. I think you're lying to us, Vic. It can't be the back.
Well, these things have in the front suspension, they have a funny piece. I think it's called a panhard rod that runs from the chassis to the front differential. And that thing loosens up, and that can make the noise that you have.
And that would be
But-
almost in the middle.
But it would have to come from the front. So if you could be persuaded.
Or if you could somehow get someone to hang outside the window with his head down at the level of the ground.
Yeah.
Do you have any really good friends?
Well, I've been trying to do this with my wife, but, as I said, when I'm doing all these crazy turns in parking lots, sometimes she just gets out of the car and walks home.
Well,
I
let
don't
her
blame her.
drive and you hang out the window.
Here's what you do. Instead of driving, having your wife drive and you hanging your head out the window, that can be dangerous. No. It's easy to hit.
You let me do it all the time.
So I said it could be dangerous. I would do the parking lot thing with your wife driving, and you would stand outside the vehicle and make her make the turn as she approaches you. And I think it'll be pretty obvious that it's coming from the front. Goodbye, Vic.
Okay.
It can't be coming from the back. It only works if it's coming from the front.
Well, I mean, it could be coming from the back, but I don't buy it.
I don't either.
Okay.
See you, Vic.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was tough.
Oh, God.
Why can't we convince people?
You know why? We're losing our credibility. Yeah. It's that Stump the Chumps that's doing it. Yeah, we got to start rigging Stump the Chumps. You got to have everyone say, "Oh, you're right. You guys are geniuses." Yeah, because people are getting defiant now. It's coming from the back. No, it isn't.
It's not. The guy, he wouldn't. He was
relent.
intractable there.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we should have hung up on him. 1-888.
That's another approach.
Yeah. Okay.
They won't let us do that either. They took all the controls out of here.
No sharp objects.
We could
either.
leave.
Yeah.
No, we're not answering this one. Come on, let's get out of here.
Taking all the sharp implements out of the room. It's no fun anymore. 1-888-CAR TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Kristen.
Kristen with a K.
With a K.
Where you from?
Minnesota, of course.
Whereabouts?
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Minneapolis.
Now, you
yes.
must have Scandinavian heritage.
Absolutely.
Of course, but not Scottish.
And actually, I am a little Scottish.
Ah!
My brother had a little scotch the other day.
Do you know Robert Burns?
No.
Anyway, Kristen, what's the nature of your call?
I have a question that I'm a little embarrassed to ask.
Oh, don't be.
People have told me that there's no such thing as a stupid question, and I think that's bogus.
Well, Kristen, we entertain. There is no such thing as a stupid
But we
question.
happen to know
there is.
on first-hand knowledge that there are stupid answers, and we know every one of them.
I truly believe this is a stupid question, but it's become an obsession with me, and I have to know.
Well, that's all right.
Okay, I work in a corporation that has a big, big parking ramp, and most people have to arrive at 7 or maybe 8 a.m.,
Uh-huh.
but I have a boss who's kind enough to understand that I'm not a morning person, and so she allows me to work like 9 to 6.
Yeah.
But that means that I have to take the route up to the top of the parking ramp.
Oh,
This is a parking garage that has ramps that go up to the various levels.
Oh, so this is a continuous, like a screw.
A big.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
I got it. Okay, it's like
Okay.
a helix. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not a helix on the way up, but it does entail, for me, 18 sharp left turns
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
all the way up. And then when I exit, I have to go on this helix
18 right-hand
down,
turns.
and that entails cranking the car. I usually go in second gear, and I try to find a balance between riding the brake and losing control.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I should spend my evenings driving my car in the neighborhood making right turns to compensate. I can't imagine this is not...
Oh, you mean it's left turns going in and left turns coming out?
Yes, and I think that's... I mean, I understand the tires. I can deal with the tires, but...
So you want to take right turns to unwind it because you feel like it's winding itself up.
Well, or I just have to have right turns to compensate.
Yeah, you want to
for
even out the
that I'm
wear.
putting on the system.
Yeah, you want to even out the wear.
Kristen, that is the stupidest question I have
No,
ever...
no, hardly.
That's
I
good.
know.
No, it isn't a...
But just give me some peace here.
Well,
This is kind of a spiritual thing.
it is. No, I can understand how if you do this every single day, after a while, it can really get to you and you say, my
does
God,
get
what
to
is
me.
going on here? How long have you had this job?
Since March.
Oh, this is new.
Yeah, but it's
Relatively
going to
new.
go on. It's going to be forever. I'm going to die in this job.
Fine.
Oh, yeah, if I had a job where I could show up at 9 o'clock, I'd stay there forever, too.
Best.
9
Great
o'clock.
boss,
You
great
mean
job.
you mean in the morning?
Yeah.
There's a 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Terrible.
You're not doing any harm to the car. I mean, it is true that you probably are wearing some things out, like the tires, maybe. I would just rotate the tires every maybe 4,000 or 5,000 miles.
I thought you were going to say every 4 or 5 days.
Or 4 or 5 days, whichever happens first.
But if you showed up for work on time, you wouldn't have to do this. You could park on the first floor.
I know that. I know that.
That's all right. We'll forgive you. Good luck, Kristen.
Thank you.
And
Good
don't worry
question.
about your car.
It was a good question, Kristen.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, look, it's time for us to take a little break.
Says who?
The SPCA?
The SPCA? There's no animals hurt during our show.
No, that's the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Audiences.
Well, stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, I drive all night, all day too. Sit up here and play this mess for you. I'm a driving man, and I'm coming to your town. And I'll tell you something, mister, I ain't gonna mess around.
And even though skeet shooters everywhere yell, pull, and toss their radios into the air when they hear us say it, this is NPR.
This message comes from Car Talk and NPR sponsor R&T, a new collector's edition magazine for the automotive enthusiast that delivers immersive stories, striking visuals, and deep dives on new cars and future classics. Plus, you're invited to join the R&T Track Club, where you'll be granted access to exclusive events, virtual experiences, perks, promotions, automotive adventures around the world, and much, much more. To join the club and live the drive, visit roadandtrack.com/join.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Vimeo Create. You don't have to be an expert to create high-quality videos for your business. Add clips, pick a template, and let the smart tools of Vimeo Create handle the rest. More at vimeo.com/create.
This message comes from Pineapple Street Studios' new podcast, Stay Away from Matthew McGill. The story of a man who dies alone in the woods and leaves behind a box full of wild stories. When reporter Eric Mennel finds this box, he becomes consumed by it until it totally changes his life and family. New episodes are available every week wherever you get your podcasts. Binge all episodes exclusively on the new Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
On Facebook, there are these three brothers who love guns, say guns are overregulated, say the NRA is too quick to compromise.
And they're gaining more followers every day.
They're very in-your-face and offensive, and by God, I love them for it.
Listen now to the No Compromise podcast from NPR.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers, and we're here to talk about cars, car repair, and creative writing 101.
I mean, this is a perfect example of why the whole world is hopeless. It's hopeless. This is presumably real from SMU in-class assignment for Wednesday. Today we'll experiment with a new form called a tandem story. Each person will pair off with the person sitting to his or her immediate right. One of you will then write the first paragraph of a short story. The partner will read the first paragraph and add another paragraph to the story. Then the first person will add a third paragraph and so on back and forth, okay?
Yeah, it's kind of like how we do our show.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. The first person writes, At first, Laurie couldn't decide which kind of tea she wanted. The chamomile, which used to be her favorite for lazy evenings at home, now reminded her too much of Carl, who once said in happier times that he liked chamomile. But she felt she must now at all costs keep her mind off Carl. His possessiveness was suffocating, and if she thought about him too much, her asthma started acting up again. So chamomile was out of the question. Okay, so
So far, so good.
She hands this over to the guy next to her.
To Butch, the guy sitting next to her.
Meanwhile, Advanced Sergeant Carl Harris, leader of the attack squadron, now in orbit over Skylon 4, had more important things to think about than the neurosis of an airheaded asthmatic bimbo named Laurie, with whom he had spent one sweaty night over a year ago. A.S. Harris to Geostation 17, he said into his transgalactic communicator. Polar orbit established, no sign of resistance so far. But before he could sign off, a bluish particle beam flashed out of nowhere and blasted a hole through his ship's cargo bay. The jolt from the direct hit sent him flying out of his seat and across the cockpit. Hands it back to her. He bumped his head and died almost immediately, but not before he felt one last pang of regret for psychically brutalizing the one woman who had ever had feelings for him. Soon afterwards, Earth stopped its pointless hostilities towards the peaceful farmers of Skylon 4. Congress passes law permanently abolishing war and space travel, Laurie read in her newspaper one morning. The news simultaneously excited her and bored her. She stared out the window, dreaming of her youth when the days had passed unhurriedly and carefree, with no newspapers to read, no television to distract her. Back to him. Little did she know she had less than 10 seconds to live. Thousands of miles above the city, the Anu Udrian mothership launched the first of its lithium fusion missiles. I mean, this goes on, but I mean, it's hopeless, isn't it? It's hopeless.
Well, that pairing is certainly hopeless.
Well, I wonder how unlike most communication, even between husband and wife. I mean, your wife is talking, I think I'll have chamomile tea. Meanwhile, Master Sergeant.
Well, it just proves that most people are in their own world.
Isn't it the truth?
And they don't want to be in yours.
Wow.
Lithium, what was that?
Lithium fusion missiles.
Ooh, I like them.
Little did she know she had less than 10 seconds to live.
Those lithium fusion missiles will be raining down upon her. Hey, by the way, I have got some great news for our listeners. The Puzzler is back.
Is it rested, re-obfuscated, and raring to go?
Well, let's just say it's back. Anyway, we will have a brand spanking new puzzler coming up in the third half of the show, so don't touch that dial. But right now, if you have a question about your car or anything, give us a call. The number is 888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Adla in Boston.
What's your name?
Adla.
Oh, boy, that's the new one on us.
How do you spell this?
A, D as in David,
Yeah.
L-A.
Adla.
Yeah.
What's the origin of this name?
Well, it's a Palestinian name.
Okay. Adla.
Yes.
So what's up? You live
Well,
in Boston, our fair city.
I do. Actually, I just moved here from Minnesota.
Oh,
Is
you
that
wanted to escape those harsh Minnesota winters, so you came here, right?
Yeah, good thinking.
Well, I had a harsh welcome.
What's up?
Well, I have a 96 Honda Civic, and I got in my car to go to work as usual one morning, and the car wouldn't start. It wouldn't, nothing. So, open the hood, battery's gone.
That'll do it.
Explain it. Yeah.
Really?
How did they get my battery?
Yeah.
The car is locked.
The car is locked.
The hood is closed.
I don't know how
Well,
they
I know,
do you
I
know
know
how they did it?
I know how they did it.
Because you must do this
How?
all the time.
I do it all the time. We it's not often, but once in a while we get cars that come into our shop where the hood release cable is broken.
Yeah.
That cable that runs from the handle inside your car
Okay.
runs through the firewall, and it runs to the latch, which is located in front of the radiator.
Okay.
And what they're doing is they're getting underneath the car and finding that cable.
Which usually, by the way, is not easy to find. And it's not easy to reach.
It's easier on some cars than others. Some cars,
Probably on a Honda Civic.
it's pretty easy on a Civic, actually.
Yeah.
And
On some cars, it's quite buried, and you'd have a hard time getting under there.
right, those are the ones where we have to chisel a hole in the hood to get open.
Now,
Right.
we're not disseminating this information to all the thieves.
Well, we are, but they knew it already.
Yeah,
they
they-
knew that Honda Civics are probably a good target, and that's why tomorrow there will be a lot more battery thefts from Honda Civics.
If you want to thwart them, you can go out and buy yourself something like a
Rottweiler.
That would be one way.
A Z-lock, one of these locks that has a key that's an additional key that goes in. It's one of those cylindrical keys that you have to push in to lock. It goes under your dashboard, and it's a shielded cable, very thick cable, that goes to an additional lock that actually locks the hood shut.
So how much would that cost me?
Well, how much does a battery cost?
$50.
$50, and this costs like $500. So what are the chances that 9 more batteries are going to be
Well, when did this happen?
It happened a couple of weeks ago.
I would be wary.
Mm-hmm.
Do you park your car in the same place?
Yeah, that's why I'm calling.
My
because-
brother has to tell you the parable of the battery.
The parable of the '56 Chevy. You have to ask yourself, why would anybody want an old battery?
Right.
And the answer is, well, nobody really does. But they do know where to find a brand new one tomorrow.
They sure do.
So they steal your battery, and then they know you're going to go right to Sears and buy yourself a Die Hard, and that's the one they really want. If they were nice, they'd bring you back the other one.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. But they typically don't do that because their fingerprints are all over it.
Oh,
So
gosh,
I would like not park in the same place
Yeah.
for the next couple of weeks.
But you can
Maybe
go to
they'll forget.
a place that sells car alarms, and you can get one of those locks. I don't think it costs anywhere near $500.
Okay.
I was being facetious,
Oh,
but it's probably a couple of $100, and it might be worth it if you're going to stay in Boston.
Nah, don't worry about it. It's only a battery.
See ya, Adla.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 1-888-CAR-TALK or 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hello, this is Michael calling from Mountain Grove, Missouri.
Hi, Michael. What's up?
Well, not much in this part of the world.
Now, wait, I have to stop you for a second, Michael. Thomas, when someone says, hi, this is Michael from Mountain Grove, Missouri, you can't go, huh? I mean, that sounds,
Is that what I did?
It sounds like, big deal. Michael, I'm sorry. Proceed.
Well, I have a Thunderbird with 155,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And except for it needs a new choke pull-off, it runs pretty well. You laugh, but that's
Well, we
what
have
it
a supply of them here.
Okay. I have one problem, however. When I leave my house in the morning, I back out of my driveway, and I can turn either east or west. Okay?
This is going to be good, I can tell.
Okay.
Okay. If I turn east, I come to a stop sign approximately 50 feet from my driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I turn south to get on the highway to go to work. There's never any problem.
Mm-hmm.
If I turn west, about 100 yards down the street, there's a stop sign. A significant percentage of the time.
It stalls.
I'd say, does that mean it's a good one if someone uses phrases like a significant portion of the time?
Yeah, we like that.
Okay.
That's good.
Probably 40% of the time. When I stop at this stop sign, I look both ways to see if cars are coming. I put my foot on the gas to accelerate, and nothing. The engine races, but I get no forward motion.
Ooh.
I back off. I can feel it kind of go clunk. I put my foot on the gas, and I go forward. It never does this again during the day, and the transmission does not slip. What I want to know is this the first sign of my transmission saying to me, I'm about to go out to lunch, or is my wife right?
What did she say?
She says you're out to
We were in
lunch.
the car the other day, and I was mentioning this problem, and as we stopped at this very stop sign and started to go, my wife said, well, you have to stop under a power line here.
Woo.
Oh,
She thinks maybe it's an electromagnetic thing.
Whoa. Hey, now, there's a woman after my own heart, as we say.
Well, I would say go east, young man. I would think that will solve your problems. I'm going to just take a guess. Now, you should have written to us about this because we could have used this as a puzzler.
Yeah.
But we'll have to disguise it somehow and use it next week.
Hey, let me just say,
when you
Michael,
stop...
this is a great question. You're going to make some prognostication here?
Not a prognostication. I'm going to ask him a question to which he's going to say, he will reply, yes.
Ah.
When you go in the easterly direction and come to the stop sign, is the car facing downhill?
No, it's level in both directions.
Thanks a lot, Michael. All right. Well, how about when you go west? Is it facing downhill or uphill?
It's level.
It's perfectly level, huh?
I thought there were rolling hills in Missouri.
There are. I just don't live on top of any of them.
So in both cases, it's level, huh?
Both
Yeah.
cases.
And it never, ever, ever does this if you go in the easterly direction first?
No.
Oh, here's a question. You have to do this.
This is a stumper.
No, because the distance he drives before he stops is double when he goes from the westerly direction. It may have something to do with it. But to answer your question, is the transmission on the way out to lunch? Yeah, probably. You wouldn't consider doing anything like a transmission service, a fluid and filter change? Have you done that?
Oh, yes, I've done that.
Have you-
I went to Florida last July and had it serviced just before I went to Florida.
How many miles ago was that?
Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 14,000.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
Yeah. I mean, you might be, if you haven't checked the transmission fluid level, have you? It might be low.
No, I've checked it.
Oh, sure. I mean, the fact that you step on the gas and nothing happens almost certainly means that there is something real bad wrong with your transmission. That's a certainty.
Yeah, especially if the fluid is
Especially
filled.
if it's got fluid. I mean, that would be fine if
And it's pink.
Yeah.
Is it pink?
Pinkish.
Pinkish.
Pinkish, close enough. Yeah. That's why when he called and said, "Hi, my name is Michael from Mountain Grove, Missouri," what did I say? See? Yeah, see, now you think I was just frivolous.
No, I know now it wasn't.
The answer is yeah. Your transmission is any minute going to be out to lunch. It also means your wife is slightly out to lunch with the power line theory. And we don't have the faintest idea why 100 feet versus 50 or 100 yards versus 50 should make the difference. If
Try this
anything-
tomorrow morning. Run that stop sign and stop 50 feet further down the road.
That's
and
it.
take off
Run
again.
the light.
Well, that might be a good idea. Because
Yeah.
if I stop then, I'm right beside the parking lot of a church.
You'll need it.
Give it a try,
Give
Michael.
it a shot, Michael, and let us know how long it works for.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks for your call.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 1-888-CAR-TALK or 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Amy calling from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Amy.
Amy.
Yes, Amy.
Grand Rapids.
Yeah, I have a 2002 Pontiac Montana.
Yeah.
And when I run the air conditioning and I'm blowing it on a level 3 or a 4, then I switch it off so it's venting at the same level. This white cloudy stuff has been pouring out of the middle vent.
Yes.
And the first time I thought it was smoke, so I pulled over.
I know. Isn't that scary?
I blew it toward myself, and it doesn't smell like anything. It was kind of scary, but then I just realized it was some sort of cloud.
Yeah.
It's exactly
It's a cloud.
what it was.
It's a meteorological cloud.
Phenomenon. You made you made a low pressure system. You ever watch the Weather Channel? And you made when you turned off the AC and flipped it to vent, you allowed warm moisture. The reason you have the AC on in the first place is that it was hot and damp, hot and muggy. And what you did when you flipped over to vent is you allowed that hot and muggy air all of a sudden to come through the same ventilation duct that had been transporting the cool, conditioned air into your passenger compartment. And when those two air masses collided...
Right. You had a collision of cool air with no moisture in it and warmer air full of moisture.
And you got a cloud. You're lucky you didn't have a lightning storm.
Well, is that normal?
Yes.
I've never heard of anything like that. And I didn't want to call the dealer because I thought they'd think I was idiot.
Well, they
but-
charge you, too.
Right, and they charged me. Last time I had my service engine soon light went on, so I took it to the dealer, and they charged me $75 to tell me my gas cap wasn't screwed on.
Yeah, we've been telling my brother that for a long time. Yeah.
So that's normal.
It's perfectly normal, especially if you smelled it and it doesn't smell of
It
anything.
doesn't smell like anything.
Yeah,
No, and the fact
it
is
wouldn't.
that most people don't do this, what you did. I mean, most people leave the air conditioner on until they've shut off the car. But you had to go fiddling around with the controls.
And it doesn't happen all the time, does it?
No, it doesn't. It didn't happen today.
Yeah, this is most likely to happen on a hot summer day.
That's exactly when it happened.
Yeah, and on those hot summer days, don't turn the air conditioner off. Leave it on.
I was almost to my destination, so
And you were trying to save a little bit of the environment that's left
Exactly.
here on
Yeah,
Earth.
no, we appreciate what you're doing.
And I think it was a good thing, as long as it doesn't cloud up the car so much that you can't see.
Right.
No, it just blows out for maybe 30 seconds or
Sure.
a minute.
No, I've had it happen before, and it can be pretty scary.
Well, it was the first time.
Yeah, especially when you can't see. See you later, Amy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your
Good luck.
call.
Bye-bye.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for calling. Bye-bye.
All right, look, it's time for us to take a short break, and when we come back, we will have the opening puzzler of the new fall puzzler season.
Wow! Can I throw out the first ball, man?
Yeah, sure. We'll be back in a minute.
More of the world's last functioning radio tubes crack whenever we say it. This is NPR.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Cast. Howie Mandel has launched a podcast. Co-hosted by his daughter, Jacqueline Schultz, Howie Mandel Does Stuff is an interactive experience that pushes the limits of what we think of as a podcast. Known for hosting Deal or No Deal and America's Got Talent, Howie will bring all of his expertise and signature comedic style to his new podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also catch the video releases each week on YouTube.
The way things are going right now, even if you can keep track of what's happening in the news, it's hard to know why it's happening, or what it really means. That's why we have created a daily podcast that answers your questions about the news in about 10 minutes every weekday. It's called Consider This. New episodes every weekday afternoon from NPR.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tapper Brothers. And we're here to discuss cars, car repair, and the first puzzler of the new season.
Hallelujah!
Well, I have some doozies in this folder, but I didn't want to use. I didn't want the first one. I mean,
is it similar to like a doggy doozy? You didn't want to use the best one first.
No.
Is it the worst one?
among the worst. But hey, you got to start off slow.
You always do.
I don't want
like
to shock anybody.
We've discussed this before.
Yeah.
I like your strategy. Always leave them asking for more or less.
And I wrote note. I cannot read one word of my writing. See all those notes on the side of the paper?
Yeah, that was to remind you of something.
I can't read one word of it, but I'm going to have to fake it.
Fake it. Go ahead.
This puzzle was inspired by an email I got from a guy named Dave Trayers from who knows where he is.
Oh,
it's
but
an email.
you sort of...
obfuscated,
there you go.
Embellished, modified, switcherooed,
But
everything.
thanks for the idea anyway.
A few days ago, I was sitting at a little restaurant, and I'm sitting at a table, and next to me are two old geezers chatting away. And,
was I one of them?
Well, they reminded me of you. You know, no teeth, and and they were lamenting the state of modern cars, the fact that they've all modern cars have fallen victim to the rules of aerodynamics, and they all look the same. There's nothing distinctive or particularly stylish about them, and they were going on and on about how much they missed their old cars and how much they hated their newer cars. And at some point, I kind of lost I think I had to place my order, and I kind of lost the conversation. And when I tuned back into it, I heard one of them say, "Oh yeah, and I missed that too. I really do miss that." And the other one chimes in. When does anyone chime in anyway? Yeah, so do I. I missed that. I used to look forward, one of them says, to seeing that every year in my car. And the other one says, "Geez, so did I. I kind of look forward to seeing it too." And the first one asks the other, "You seen it in your new car, this car you're driving now?" "Oh, no way. And not likely to see it the way I drive either." And the question is, what the heck are they talking about? So what is it that you would see in an older car, but you wouldn't see in modern cars?
And looking forward to seeing it every year.
Look forward to seeing it every year, pretty much every year. Yeah. So if you think you know the answer, call me immediately.
I like this.
If you think you know the answer, write it on the back of a postcard or pin it to the bottom of a hand-stitched, velvet-backed Pennsylvania Dutch-style antique quilt. And send it just in time for winter to Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our fair city.
Matt, 02238. Or you can email your answer to us from cartalk.com and the winner will get I just showed my brother the answer. Pretty cute, huh?
I like it.
And the winner will get a $25 gift certificate to the Shameless Commerce division of our website. Anyway, if you have a question about your car or anything else, we don't really care. You can give us a call at 888-CAR-TALK, and we'll try to help. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Jennifer from Boulder, Colorado.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
What's up?
This is more of a settlement of an argument between me and my punky know-it-all 18-year-old nephew.
Oh, God. Okay.
My family and I were in Mongolia over the summer.
Oh.
And with my 5-year-old and my toddler, and there the steering wheel can be on either side. They have no law.
Yeah.
And my son loved it. He loved to tell all the drivers that in my country, the steering wheel is on this side. So my nephew said, well, my friend just ordered a BMW from Germany, and the steering wheel is on the right side.
Yeah.
And I said, well, he can't drive that in the United States. And he said, yes, he can. I said, no, he can't. And we went around. And then I thought, oh, my God, what if he's right? And so that's when I called you.
So you have a bet with your nephew?
Yes.
You lose.
I do.
She does?
There's nothing, no rule against it. For example, mail trucks. And there are people who've imported London taxis with the driving wheel on the right.
But isn't it dangerous?
Of course it's dangerous.
I mean, first of all, in Mongolia, they were driving crazy. And
Yeah.
when you are running for your life across the street because they could care less about pedestrians, you don't know who to make eye contact with before you fall to your death.
Right, before you fall to your death. So you could look at the driver's side of the car and realize that it's not the driver's side anymore, it's the passenger side of the car, and because they alternate.
I was in Bangkok once, and the taxi driver was taking me to the airport, and he said, in your country, he said, you drive on the right. He said, and in England, they drive on the left. Here in Thailand, it is optional.
Well, I think...
So the steering wheel can be on either side. And the United States, there's no law in the United States that says what side the steering wheel has to be on.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I have seen vehicles.
Oh, now you're waffling because you said it's not illegal. You said it's not illegal.
Well, I assume it's not illegal because I have seen vehicles which have been imported to this country, mostly from England, like Rolls Royces.
Oh, yeah, no, sure, yeah.
And their steering wheel is on the right.
They may give you special dispensation if you're a multimillionaire.
I don't think so.
You're siding with my nephew.
I'm siding
He's
with
siding
your
with your nephew.
So he's not just full of it.
No.
Jennifer, this is going to be a bitter pill to swallow.
You don't know.
Well, we do know. I can sense it. How many times have you gotten into arguments with him and been wrong?
Oh, beyond.
Oh, so this was your one chance at redemption.
Oh yeah, but he doesn't know that I've been,
Well, I mean, you can tell him anything you want.
Right? Yeah, he just started college this year, so whether or not he's listening to the radio.
No, he's too busy.
I could get by with it just saying, I still don't know the answer, Tyler.
Tell him to quit school now while he still knows everything. No sense in wasting 4 years at college.
Well, yeah. He's going to college in Steamboat Springs, where there's a huge ski resort, but he's going to quote unquote college.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to study gravity while he's there. Good luck, Jennifer.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
1-888-CAR-TALK or 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Alexander in New York City.
Alexander, do you use the whole name?
Most often, yeah, although a lot of people call me Alex, and in high school I was Al.
Yeah.
Or Yo Al.
Yo Al.
Yo Al.
Okay, you'll be Yo Al.
Yo
Wasn't that Superman's father?
I beg your pardon?
Superman's father. Wasn't he Yo Al?
No, that's the...
Kal-El.
That's the Israeli airline, Yoel.
What's up, Al?
Well, I have to preface my question by saying that my father was Leonard Bernstein.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he had a sort of lifelong quest for the perfect convertible.
Did he really?
To menace everybody else on the road with.
I always knew I liked that guy. Really? He was a convertible person.
Yeah, in the olden days when his show was sponsored by Ford Lincoln.
Maria.
Oh, don't get him started.
I just met a girl.
Well, I'm thrilled to hear you sing that.
But I have to say that of everything he ever did, nothing was as inspired as Puerto Rico, my heart's devotion, let it sink back in the ocean. That was inspired, man.
Well, I think you got to give Steve Sondheim credit for that.
Well, yeah, he did the words, right?
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are you in the music business, Alex?
Oh, no.
Ander?
No, I took some piano lessons
and
it wasn't right. It wasn't right. It wasn't in your heart, huh?
So, I mean, what do you do, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm a teacher by trade.
Of
English and drama.
So the arts are still in there. I mean, I didn't figure you for a concrete contractor.
Sometimes I wish I were.
Yes, you were, right.
No, I also run a foundation that my father started, Arts and Education.
Foundation, concrete foundation.
And you work right in Manhattan?
Uh-huh.
And you live in Manhattan?
And I live in Manhattan.
And have you got a car?
Yes, I have a car.
It always amazes me that you could live in Manhattan and have a car.
It amazes me, too.
But there are, I suppose, millions of people who do it.
But you have a car, and obviously you have a question.
Doesn't even have a view or anything.
Yeah, we've managed to avoid your question for quite a while here, so we'll let you ask it.
Yeah, what's the problem?
All right, it's not a problem. But when I was 12, we spent the summer in Italy, and my father, one of his convertibles, he decided to buy a Maserati. And so he was in love with this car, and the guy that sold it to him said that when he downshifted, he should do this thing called double clutching, where you on the way down, while you're in neutral, you
let the clutch out.
Give it.
Let
you
the
let
clutch
the clutch out, give it
then
gas,
you put it back in again.
and
Right.
then you put it back in. So I thought this was the coolest thing in the world. And then when I got my first car, a horrible used Capri, I started doing this, and I've been doing it ever since because I just remembered how cool it was that my father did it in the Maserati.
Now, this Maserati was like a 50-something?
Oh, it was, it must have been 68, 67.
A 67 Maserati.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was brand new.
It was brand new.
I think this Italian mechanic gave your father bogus information.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given, isn't it? that was redundant. I'm sorry. 67. I mean, it's so unlike. The only reason that you would ever have to double clutch is if you don't have a synchronized transmission. The transmission doesn't have what we call synchros in it.
Synchro mesh transmission. And,
right.
And the Maserati must have had a synchro mesh transmission. I mean, by that time, virtually everyone had one. And certainly a high-end car like that would have had it.
Sure.
Which would obviate the necessity of
double clutching.
Double clutching. The reason you would double clutch is to match the gear speed so that you wouldn't get gear clash when you shifted, especially downshifting. So you would let the clutch out while the thing was in neutral, and you change the engine speed, usually bring it up if you were upshifting, so that the gears would be turning at the same speed so they wouldn't clash and grind when you made your shift. And it would take some practice to figure out exactly how much gas you would have to give it between shifts. Otherwise, you would put it into the next gear, and as you tried to get it into gear, you'd get this...
Right. Because the engine would be turning at a much different speed from the transmission, and you'd have to that wonderful grinding noise.
Right.
And I have to say, though, that once you had learned the technique of double clutching, it is a magnificent way to drive.
Oh, I love it.
Totally unnecessary, but it makes you feel
like you're racing,
like you're really doing something.
And you will never unlearn this. I mean, you've been doing this for years, obviously.
Yeah.
You'll never unlearn it. But it looks cool, doesn't it? I mean, do people ask you all the time what you're doing?
Sure.
Yeah.
And you say...
And it feels cool, too.
And you say, I'm double clutching.
That's right.
And they say, wow.
And there's nothing wrong with doing it, really.
Oh, that's.
I mean, it does put a little extra wear on the clutch and the release bearing and the clutch cable and the linkage and the pedal assembly and all that.
Have you been running through a lot of clutches on all these cars that you've owned in the past 10 years?
No, as a matter of fact, I never did.
You never did?
No. Everything else has gone wrong, but not the clutches.
So what is it that you're driving anyway?
Saab.
A Saab.
900.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, well, I would continue doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm relieved to know that I'm not ruining my car.
Well,
you're not ruining your car. You're not ruining your car.
You are ruining your car.
No, don't tell him that.
We can be honest. Alex is an adult here. He can take it. You are, but in the long run, what's the difference? You're never going to break yourself of this habit. So it's better that we just tell you that you're not ruining your car, and you can go off happy and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, just forget you ever called us. But if nothing else, it will remind you, every time you double clutch, it will remind you of that wonderful summer you spent in Italy.
Yeah.
It'll remind you of your dad.
Exactly.
And the joy he's brought to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's the reason
enough.
why you should continue to do it.
And in fact, I think everyone who has a manual transmission should double clutch in honor of Leonard Bernstein.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, I am going to start double clutching my car. And every time you do it, you say, Puerto Rico, my heart's devotion.
Well, someone's going to have to write a song for us, and I'm sure one of our listeners in your father's inimitable style will be able to write a song using his music and putting words which have double clutching.
I'm sure someone will do that.
Oh,
as a
great
theme.
idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We should all double clutch in honor of Leonard. And when people say, what are you doing? I'm Bernsteining. You mean you don't do that when you drive? Everyone will do it.
Oh, so we can change the
whole
terminology.
thing, and then think 100 years from now when people are trying to figure out what the hell is this called Bernsteining for, nobody will know. Just like now you dial the phone. It's got no dial.
Right.
But you dial it. And
all right.
20 years from now, even now, kids say, why is it called a dial?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a dial. It's push buttons.
Yeah.
So this will become known as Bernsteining the clutch.
Or burning out the clutch. Whichever you
burning
prefer.
out the clutch. Hey, Alexander, thanks a million for your call.
Thank you guys. You're my heroes.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bernsteining the clutch. I love it.
Well, you've done it again. You've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to Car Talk. Our esteemed producer is Doug, the Subway Fugitive, not a slave to fashion, Bongo Boy Berman. Our associate producers are David, the Calves of Belleville Green, and Catherine Frau Blucher Fenolosa. Our web lackey is Doug, the Old Gray Mare, assisted by Connie Britchford. Our engineer is John Cartman Perotti. Our theme music is by David Dog Grisman. And our technical, spiritual, and menu advisor, just back from the Miami-Dade Sushi Grade, Tuna Filet, Rumelade, Minute Maid Marmalade, and Gatorade Promenade is John Bugsy Lawler. Our public officers reach for the Dramamine whenever they hear us say it. This is NPR.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Fidelity Wealth Management. See how a Fidelity representative can help with tax-smart guidance throughout the year.